What is up, everybody? Welcome to Theocracy. I am your host, Theo Snodgrass, comedian and podcaster out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Wherever you may be, thank you very much for making me a part of your day. Oh, fuck, dude. Can I be really honest with you? This shit in Minnesota is like very heavy and it's like weighing on my heart. It's like super bumming me out. I'm not having a good time with it. Yeah, it just reminds me so much of 2020 when like my whole Instagram feed was spammed with people like reposting Black Lives Matter stuff. Do you guys get that vibe? Does it remind you of like 2020 at all? Yeah, and then we would have these like really divisive, videos that would be released, and then people would dissect them. And there's this weird thing that happens where people that I respect a lot will engage in like performative nuance around shooting video because they want to overly give the benefit of the doubt and be like, and I think obsessively picking apart like analytical details, like the first shot was fired over here, and this is legally permissible, is just, I think, completely missing the point. I think like the amount of retarded online bickering about picking apart individual moments of video is ignoring the larger context. That, dude, did you hear? It's like a super organized insurgency. Did you guys hear about the fucking Signal chats that got infiltrated that had like government officials in them? What the fuck is going on? It's like, I have to show you this tweet. I saw this tweet. It freaked me out. This is what bummed me out. This tweet fucked up my whole weekend. So you guys get to see it too now. God. Hey, wait, hold on. Give me a second. Well, I'll post this. Okay, so this is, I don't want to be big. There we go. I don't want to, no, hold on. There we go. There we go. This is going to be small. So this is, you guys can't really see this part, but you don't have to because it's not really important. But this is like just the Signal chats, and then all these scrolling by, these are all like the names of people in Minneapolis who are like participating in this like Stop ICE, whatever the fuck thing. And I guess it's like the whole organized group, and they have like different jobs and shit. Dude, I was always thinking like it was like laughable to think that leftists could pull together some kind of like organized army to mount some kind of resistance in like a civil war scenario. But now this shit is like incredibly well organized. Is this what the CIA has been doing in other countries? Is this what we've been doing to people? This is fucking horrifying. The way that like every other fucking video on my social media is some like hysterical white woman being like, it's time to murder ICE agents right now today because I had a feeling. And it's like, what the fuck is going on? What are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? It's like someone needs to get a gun and murder ICE agents. It's like, shut the fuck up. Stop. Don't say shit like that. People are crazy. Because somebody's going to do it. Stop talking like that. Stop saying that. But I think, okay, I didn't know. I think what's shocking, so as you're seeing all these names going by in the Signal chat, these are like thousands of people who are like involved in this, including like government officials, like people very high up in the like close to Tim Walz are involved, like actual government officials. Like they're almost certainly getting support from the local government, which is like, bro, what the fuck? Almost certainly. Like, this is almost certainly where all that bribery money went. By the way, this is what I found interesting is Minnesota has a relatively small number of deportations as a state, and that's kind of obvious because it's like nowhere near the border. I don't know why I didn't put this together until somebody else pointed it out to me, but it's nowhere near the fucking border. So it has an unusually, so why is there so much friction here and not in Texas? And it's because in Texas, local law enforcement's cooperating. The local government's just like cooperating. That's why it's easier. There's like a third of all deportations, I guess, come out of Texas. And it's just easier because local law enforcement cooperates. This thing that's going on now is like, I thought like people were like saying this was just like an organic protest movement. And now with like, dude, there's like a lot of coordination and there's funding. Like, this is like, I don't know why more people aren't upset about this. Like, I know people are upset, but like, this is staggering. Okay, anyway, so I'm going to read you guys the tweet that ruined my fucking weekend. Or wait, what day is it? It's Tuesday. Yeah, I do comedy. So this is my weekend. This is my Saturday. As a former, okay, so this is this guy. I don't know who the fuck this guy is. This is just a guy who's like, see, he says on Twitter that he's former Special Forces, Green Beret. Let's see his thing. He's retired Green Beret, skeptical, patriot, questioning narrative, governance, and security intel background, focused on truth beyond the mainstream. Has 55K followers. Truthfully, I don't know who the fuck he is, but this tweet went super viral. So we're going to read it together. We're just going to assume that he's like fucking G.I. Joe or whatever. It doesn't matter. We're just going to assume he knows what he's talking about for the sake of argument, because otherwise the rest of this monologue is not going to be that interesting. Okay. As a former Special Forces warrant officer, so qualifying himself with authority. So we don't actually know if he has that authority. So just like, so take that with a grain of salt. But this is like super popular. Like I said, people are talking about it. So that's why I'm bringing it up. With multiple rotations running counterinsurgency ops, both hunting insurgents and trying to separate them from sympathetic populations, I've organized resistance up close from basically, okay, so he's done a lot of shit in the Middle East. And basically the substance, long story short, the substance of this is that in his supposedly expert opinion, what's happening in Minnesota sounds like a counterinsurgency because they have extensive communication. They have like different people doing different jobs, which is crazy. And like, okay, like homie who got shot, people are making a big deal out of the fact that he had like a legal concealed carry permit. And I don't know. I think people are really misreading that. That was something I wanted to add because there's a couple of things going on here. Because this guy was in the signal chat, like he was part of one of these groups that was like going out there on purpose to like fuck with ICE. So they are an actual insurgency that wants to be treated like law-abiding citizens. It's like, I think if we're looking at this, like homie got shot in like, look, if he'd gotten shot at like a traffic stop and it looked like that, like obviously that's a bad look. You know, but he went out there like on purpose to like fuck with them, you know, and he did that armed, which like, here's the thing. If you grew up in gun culture, which I did, I grew up in gun culture, like the part of the country where the Second Amendment is like a religion, you know, and so a lot of folks out there carry. And so part of the culture around concealed carry that I think leftists are really misunderstanding, they're talking about a concealed carry permit as a do whatever you want ticket, you know, like a ticket to just do whatever the fuck you want with a gun. And I got to impress on you, man, like people who are really deep in concealed carry do not view it that way. Like the prevailing narrative within the carry community is that carrying a gun imposes added responsibilities on the carrier to be more peaceful, because God forbid if something should happen and you have to pull that piece, you're going to, you know, change your life and somebody else's life forever. Like killing somebody is like a tremendous, tremendous, tremendous like burden. It's not, I think, leftists think that people are carrying guns because they are really psyched about killing somebody, because that's how they think. But that's just like not the prevailing narrative within the concealed carry community. Not to say no one views it that way, but that's just like not how gun guys think. You know, so I think leftists are really misunderstanding that. Like, basically what I'm saying is, if you are people from that part of the carry community would think that there was an added responsibility to not fuck with a law enforcement officer, you know? And people are talking pretty openly about showing to these protests armed on purpose and fucking with them. Like, that's kind of different than being like, they're asking to be treated like law-abiding citizens or like legal protesters, but really they're engaging in like an organized campaign of I'm not touching you bullshit, where they're trying to instigate bad use of force situations for optics. That's fucked. That's kind of fucked. And why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? Because fucking TikTok told them to, I guess. Like, I think, look, here's the thing. I think a lot of people are saying that like the people in Minnesota are being like paid salaries or something to protest. I don't think that's it at all. I think these people are true believers. Like, I think they honest to God believe in what they're doing. And that's why they're doing it. And that's why they're like, okay, like how much would somebody have to pay you as a quote unquote paid protester to pick up a flashbang grenade? Bro, that's the kind of shit true believers do. Like, they believe what they're saying. I believe that. But I think this is downstream of like a deliberate, because I don't buy the organic protest angle anymore. Not what I'm seeing, like this level of organization. Like, I'm not saying these people know what they're doing. I don't think this evolved spontaneously. I think somebody who knew how to do shit like this, like, came in and like told them to and like agitated them to. And like, why did they do that? Why did they do that? Because that's like one of the most evil things I can imagine doing. Is this what the CIA has been doing to people? This is incredibly fucked. Like, are we just acknowledging? Can we just acknowledge for a second how fucked everything is? Can we just acknowledge for a second how just like profoundly fucked this is? This is insane. Hold on. I have to interact with the chat. I'm sorry. Let's see. I didn't know. Oh, I have chatters. Very well. Welcome, Junior Coltrane. Tampon Tim totally acquiesced and is stopping the protesters using local police and is now going to cooperate with ICE. That's a win for Trump. Actually, can I say something, Junior? I was thinking that earlier, that local police cooperating and like breaking up the protesters that were like fucking with that hotel. I thought that was awesome. One of the things that I kind of thought when this narrative about Trump's surrender started emerging was that I was like, yeah, but we are only seeing the concessions. We don't know what he got for them. Like, I don't buy this like Trump is a pussy now narrative where he's just like folding. I think like maybe, yeah, we don't know what concessions he got. Like, because this is, you know, this is spiraling towards a hot conflict. Like, I think so, regardless of rhetoric, I don't think Tim Walz wants a hot conflict, you know, on the ground. It's like really looking bad. So we don't know what actually happened as far as like de-escalation. Also, the fact is, I don't think ICE anticipated that they were going to meet this level of organized resistance when they got there. And so pulling out and going in with a different strategy is not unwise. Because if you went in and like the facts on the ground are completely different, sometimes, you know, not, you know, going in a different way is smart. That's the other thing too, is like, I don't know. We don't know 100% of what Trump got as a concession. I speculate. I had thought, and maybe this is confirmed and I didn't hear about it, but I had thought like the protesters in front of the hotel getting busted up by local PD, that looked like a concession to me. It's just like, okay, you got to send in local PD and start arresting people because this is crazy. Like, that's like, you have an autonomous zone in your fucking city, which why did they know to do that? That gets me to my larger narrative, but we'll get back to that because I want to show some love to the chat. So you call Trump getting everything he wanted from Tampon Tim, Trump surrendering? Yikes, you must watch CNN. No, no, Junior, we don't do that kind of show here. We just have fun. That's just a provocative title. I was hoping that someone like yourself would tune in. Bro, you are speed talking. Are you manic today? And that's fine. No judgment. Yeah, that's true. I'm having fun. What's up, Roguish Nerd, friend of the channel? I can't listen that fast, bro. Slow it down, slow it down. No, that's fair. That's a criticism that I get a lot, actually. That's my big problem. One of my problems when I do stand up is way better to slow down and let them hear everything you're saying. Sometimes I get very wound up. That's a fair criticism. No, I went to the gym this morning and I had a Celsius. So I'm fucking yacked, bro. I'm cranked. But see, Theo, we agree. Yeah, I was kind of thinking that well, I don't buy this narrative that Trump is, but here's the thing. The reason that attack is so effective is because, okay, we live in like a society where like the main way of figuring things out is like retarded pop psychology. So everyone who's one of Trump's enemies wants to believe that he's a weak, insecure, scared little man deep down, because that would make him less scary if that were true. So anytime Trump, and since Trump's whole thing is like macho-ness, right? His whole thing is like macho-ness, then making it look like he surrendered is super advantageous if you want to make him look bad, because that hits his like masculine ego, because one of his big things that's like central to his brand is that he's a winner. And that's what I'm saying is like, I don't buy this whole like he just like fucked off and pulled out, like he's just like tired. He might be tired. Honestly, the other thing too is that he is facing an unprecedented level of public pressure like in the history of mankind. Like, he's probably the most hated man in the history of TikTok for sure. Like, he's perceived the most direct public pressure and attacks in like media and social media and on the internet kind of constantly for like basically every second he's been awake, he's been aggressively attacked in the media for like the last decade. Like, can we be honest that bro looks a little tired? Like when you watch that first debate, and then you look at him now, it's like, fuck, man. It's been a tough couple of years for him. Like, that's crazy. I don't know if any human being in the history of mankind has faced that level of public pressure and scrutiny from like that many people and that point, and have it be that accessible. Like, you could just see it on the internet. It's just, I don't know if any human beings had a similar experience to that, to be like the most hated human being in the history of the internet, for that long, for that sustained stretch. So that's crazy. I don't know if I buy this narrative that, yeah, that's why I don't think he just like pieced out of there. But also, like, it's obviously, I think the facts on the ground in Minnesota are a lot different than anybody thought. Like, I mean, okay, chat, I was surprised that there was like a fucking organized resistance network set up in Minnesota. Was anybody else surprised, or did I like miss like an obvious sign? Because that's nuts, dude. And it's getting like funding. Dude. It's like I had no idea that level of corruption exists. I mean, you always say like, oh, the government's corrupt, but it was like, oh my God, that's one of the most horrifically corrupt things I've witnessed in my lifetime. It's like, now I guess we know where all that fucking money went. Dude. What? That's like, what's crazy is like, it looks like it resembles, I'm glad you're bringing up Summer of Love, Roguish Nerd. It reminds me so much of, because the people who are mad about ICE right now are the same people that were mad about Ukraine, and they were mad about Palestine, and they were mad about trans people, and they were mad about Black Lives Matter. It's just the same people over and over and over and over again. that they're just like who they're mad about whatever current issue is. And this is the thing they're finally wound up enough to go attack federal agents. I don't know if this is like, and what's weird is it's Minneapolis again, which makes me wonder if there's like an op fucking with Minneapolis in particular. That like that's where my mind goes. I'm sure you guys are more conspiratorial than I am. I still need to see the evidence. But dude, what the fuck? This is like the craziest, like, I don't understand like okay. Let me start again. What am I not seeing that is, well, I don't understand why this is like persuasive to people. Like, to me, this seems like, and I understand, by the way, the administration just like flagrantly lying about the shootings did not help. Can we just say that did not help? I understand why they did it, because when you're in a situation like that, I understand the desire to, from a purely cynical strategy perspective, if you know that your opposition is about to start lying about you, sometimes it can be helpful to control the narrative by lying first. So purely from like a 48 laws of power perspective, I get it, but like from a can we trust anything the government says perspective, can we say optically not ideal? Not ideal, right? Not what we would want from a government that we would like trust with stuff. So I don't know. It's like it's just like ruthlessly self-interested. So and people did get fired, to be fair. So I think Kristi Noem is going to take the blame for the lying. And I know people are really mad at Pam Bondi, so I expect she'll be shuffled along soon. And then what's his face being removed as, what's his name? Bavino, the guy with the fucking dope ass army coat. Bro, I like that guy so much. That was my favorite character in this whole thing, was fucking army coat guy. I was fucking sick, bro. He just like projected leadership, and he was like 5'7" or whatever, but he was like projecting leadership. So I was just like, I thought that dude was dope. Honestly, that dude was cool as fuck. With the long coat, I just like long coats too. I think long coats are fucking sick, dude. Long coats are fucking sick. And he's just out there fucking leading the charge, fucking face exposed like a fucking gangster. Yeah, dude. Hell yeah. I'm sad he has to go, but like, I get it that like sometimes like reshuffling the guy in charge is a good thing to do. If the operation is completely fucking different than you expected. Did they know it was going to be like that? Like, did the FBI like know about this or something? Like, this is fucking, how is this possible? How is it possible that this escaped law enforcement attention? Like, the CIA didn't know they were doing this? What the fuck is happening? So that's where I'm like, fuck, because like somebody did something and it cost money. Yeah, so I'm like, and the ideas are like, these are all like, you're getting a bunch of like retarded, out of shape millennials to do counterinsurgency that's pretty sophisticated. That's crazy how well that came together. Dude, and over like issues that like don't fucking matter. You've got like people dying for fucking like Somali fraudsters. Is that what we're dying for now? That's what we're dying for? That's what we're dying for? Fucking Somalis? Okay, I guess. Fuck, man. If that's where your priorities are, yeah, sure, man. I mean, you can die for whatever you want. If you think that's a good cause, like fucking go for it, I guess. But they're fucking true believers. I think these people are like religious zealots. Religious zealots almost. Like, I think it's true belief. But what's crazy is like how fast it's spreading to like normies. Like, I follow a lot of comedians on social media, and it's like, so that may be overrepresented for like left wing and doesn't like authority. So my social media may be like fucked, but it does seem like it's everybody, man. It does seem like it's everybody. All right, let's check in with the chat because I have been just monologuing. The fraud is Pulitzer Prize winning reporting, and it's being done by YouTube guys, and all the fake media missed it. How embarrassing is that? Yeah, dude. By the way, this is something that I have pointed out on other shows. I'm going to point it out on my show. Don Lemon is using StreamYard, which for those of you that don't know the inside baseball, that's the same program that I use to do this show. So Don Lemon is just a live streamer now. So Don Lemon is a colleague of mine, which I will tell him that if I ever get a chance to see him. That makes you have any idea the kind of joy that gives my heart, that this once lofty, this once exalted figure of the legacy media is now one of the people. And what's crazy is like the quality of show is not that good. He had D.L. Hughley on there the other day, and it looked like he was like FaceTiming his dad. It was embarrassing. D.L. Hughley's on there with like, he's like sitting in like a bus station or some shit, and he's got, or probably an airport, I guess. He probably doesn't take the bus. He's D.L. Hughley. So he's like, and he's just got like the iPhone like this far from his face. It's like this, and he's got like his like fucking AirPods in, and he's like trying to appear on the StreamYard call. I was like, bro, you got to get a mic, man. You got to fix that audio situation. What a cunt. I hate that man. Anyway, that's my favorite. What's crazy about that is that, yeah, like the actual reporting was just a really persistent Nick Shirley. And by the way, Nick Shirley's got a pretty good sense of what will make for an interesting story. That was not his first like good video. That was just his first video that got that kind of attention. Like he has a really good intuitive instinct for what people are actually going to want to watch. I wish him the best of luck. I hope that he's able to, I know people are threatening him now. So, I wish him the best of luck. But yeah, that's insane that like what it is essentially revealed is that our media exists to lie to us now. And that's really disheartening. It's very hard to like actually know what's going on. Let's see. Yeah, this is a really good point, is that the fact is like Donald Trump is like really fucking impressing people. And it's just here. He's better liked. There's some other countries where he's better liked than he is here. Like there is so much unrelenting like negative media about him that like I think the opposition to Trump is almost completely fabricated by media narrative. It's just selective report. It's just like really aggressive like messaging. It's crazy the degree to which this one guy who used to be like pretty popular, by the way, he was just like kind of a, like he hosted a reality show. That was like the main thing people knew him from, was like being good at business, having lots of money, and like hosting a reality show. And he was pretty well liked. And then all of a sudden, like that, he tries to run for president and suddenly he's Hitler. Dude, it looked like the system was having like an antibody response. Because I think populism represents like an existential threat to this, like what we have now, which is just this like hysterical HR department, just ruled by Dolores Umbridge. Horrible. Worst of all possible worlds. Let's see. Oh, this is not. They agreed to only after convicted criminals already in custody stop running plates on illegals and stop street apprehensions. Okay. Stop running plates on illegals and stop street apprehensions. Okay. Also, local Minneapolis did not help. That was another town that doesn't put up with it anyway. Oh, really? Okay, so local PD is still not helping. I thought it was like the sheriff's department out there or something, but I was like, that's not local PD though. That's something different. So, that's interesting. I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't know. This isn't really like a news show. I'm just like fucking vibing, just trying to figure it out with you guys. This is why I actually go to the chat. Most of my facts I learn in the chat, actually. Most of my facts. I just get really upset. I see these videos and it's like, it's designed to be upsetting. It's crazy the amount of people who are like frothing at the mouth, like wanting to murder people over this. And I'm like, this is not, I don't believe that this is just like organic protest. And so many women are making it like an I hate men thing, which is weird. I don't know. I'm like, what the fuck, man? It's anyway, trying to unpack this. They say it's in 2028. It's going to be JD Vance, Ron DeSantis. What do you think? Oh, 2020. I think JD Vance is for sure running. I think look, bro, some people are trying to say Erica Kirk should be VP or that even Erica Kirk should be president. And I'm like, yeah, no. Hard pass. I think JD Vance is definitely going to run. We'll see how big of an impact the dissident right has. That's the other thing too. Okay, so I wanted to talk about this. The left has true believers, and the only place on the right that I see a comparable energy is on the dissident right. So I don't like far right because that's not really accurate, but it's marginalizing. But it's like sort of like this would be like the Zoomerwaffen or like Christian nationalist millennials, or like people who have a very different model for how they would like government to work, who are on the right. As like, I was going to say, after the only place I see like true believers who are really fighting for something is on the dissident right. So there's something like noble about like fighting for like blood and soil or like heritage and homeland. Like there's a nobility to that. And the things that they want are like to secure a future for their children are to some degree some quite noble. The problem is at the level of tactics. Like, I don't think grievance politics is ever a good idea. And there is a tolerance on the dissident right for a truly psychopathic level of violence. Like there's a lot of violence over there. But that's the only place on the right where I see people fighting as like true believers. Like armed federal agents are going to fight like true believers. Like they're just like not going to put their ass on the line if their motivation is money. You know, like these people are like seemingly are like frothing at the mouth to fucking die for the cause. Like this is like a religious zealotry thing. I'm like, whoa. Because I do not feel that way about these issues. I'll be honest with you. Like, I just don't, I'm not like, you know, I kind of, you know, so we'll see. I don't know. So anyway, my point is this. I think the dissident right is going to be a significant voting bloc in 2028. And Nick Fuentes, his endorsement is going to matter. It may not be this election, may not be 2028, but his endorsement is going to matter in the future. And you can call that good, bad, or indifferent. You can be upset about it if you want, but it's a fact that his endorsement is going to matter. And so, because he's controlling a progressively larger block. And one of the things that, like, one of the things that this Trump surrender narrative does is it makes the dissident right look a lot more sympathetic. And that which makes this, so I have friends who've suggested that like Nick Fuentes is like an op or a plant, or that he's being like artificially boosted to pull votes away from Donald Trump or something. And I'm interested to, I see the logic of that. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if like everything is an op, but you know, some things are just retarded. Some things are just retarded. It's really upsetting though. Like this whole thing is just like got me upset. I don't like it. It's like such a fucking bummer because like I saw this meme that was like very fitting. I'm not going to steal credit for it, but it's like conservatives say I hate liberals, and what they mean is they think they're dumb, but they would like help them out if they were stuck in a ditch, you know. And liberals say be kind, and what they mean is that they want to like literally murder conservatives, but they say they're outwardly kind. And I'm like, fuck, man, that is so real, because I just think these people are silly. I just think they're silly. Like, I don't hate, like, you know, the individual. I don't like the people who are like pushing the propaganda. Like, those people are, I'm angry at those people. But it's hard for me to be angry at like just like, I don't know, just like useless fat cat ladies who are just like wandering the streets shrieking about, you know, how badly they want immigrants to stay in their country and how trans women are women. Like, it's hard for me to hate a person like that. I feel bad for that person. I think, you know, none of these people that are super involved in activism right now feel like their lives are going super well. Like, I mean, this is what happens when you have a lot of disaffected people and a lot of millennials who are just completely Harry Potter brained. Like, I don't know how else to say it, but like they read Harry Potter and they watched Handmaid's Tale on Hulu and they never picked up another book. And that's their framing of reality. So they're just like caught in these heroes and villains. And they're just like also super like hysterically focused on dystopia. As like there's been like an obsession in young adult fiction in the last like 20, 30 years or whatever with like dystopia. And so a bunch of these like retards who use fiction to orient themselves in reality, they're just like all they have as a frame of reference is dystopia. They don't have any like actual history. Like that's the thing, is like they don't understand that like law enforcement sometimes requires force. It's like weird. Like everybody wants to live in clean streets, but nobody wants to watch the streets get clean. And like, by the way, it's like very easy to like shit on these ICE agents for what they've been doing, but the amount of fucking organized resistance they've been receiving is unprecedented. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's 100% organized. Like, what do you even do with that? Anyway, hold on. Let's look at the chat more. Pam Bondi needs to take a walk. Yeah, a lot of people feel that way, dude. That is one thing I've been hearing a lot from people. People are just absolutely sick of her shit. Trump has this really bad habit of just like hiring hot women to do stuff. It's like all of his lawyers, and like every... It's a weakness. It's a character weakness. I'll be honest with you. It's like, but he's Trump. That's the thing with Trump. You got to take the whole package. Got to take everything it comes with. You can't just have the things you like and not have the retarded shit too. You got to have, he's just so, I'm so back and forth with this guy because there are so many ways in which he is just almost comically weak. Like his character flaws are almost comical. You know, they are. But I also can't help but love the guy because he like, you know, that story of him where he had that like leader of whatever overseas terrorist organization and he fucking showed him a picture of his house. Like, I fucking love that shit. I fucking love that shit. I mean, when was the last time, you know, what was the last time before that you had an American president that was like unapologetically patriotic without a bunch of qualifiers about like America's like troubled history or whatever? You know, somebody who was like acting in America's self-interest and took personal pride in America's self-interest. Like that, I think, is the appeal of Trump more than anything. Is he does what he thinks is in America's self-interest, and he does it unapologetically, and he's not afraid to be ruthless. And the reality is our adversaries have guys like that in charge of their countries. Like Xi Jinping isn't afraid to be ruthless, and neither is Vladimir Putin. And those are our primary adversaries. So if we're just being nice and our adversaries are being ruthless, then we're going to have a bad time. Like, that's just from like a reality survivability standpoint, that's what we're talking about here. Like, that's just, we have to act in the self-interest of our civilization or it will die. You know, and having a unipolar world with the United States setting the tone is going to be a lot better than having a unipolar world with the Chinese Communist Party setting the tone, or God forbid, a multipolar world. Like, you don't want that. Like, people don't even understand how much they benefit from the United States being the world hegemon. They're completely fiction-brained. Like I said, they're not thinking about any of this. These are all like third and fourth order effects of the downstream consequences of what they're asking for, which is the complete and total destruction of the United States of America. That's what they would like, right? So, I mean, I don't know if they're, I mean, it seems like just like an anti-human death cult to me. It seems like really obvious, but like, I feel bad too. Cause like, I know there's like normies are not like, there are normal, well-adjusted people who are really upset about this because of media narratives, who are not like necessarily true believers in the cause, but are like broadly supportive and might be motivated to, may not be motivated to take direct action, but they'll certainly be motivated to vote, you know, a certain way because of this. So they're like otherwise normal people who I think are like not factoring in, like, why, here's a question, just broadly speaking, why Minnesota in particular? Because like Texas has like way more deportations. They have like no problems because local government cooperates. Like, this is the reason it's getting like this is because local government's not cooperating, local PD's not cooperating, and now we find out that there's like a well-funded active network of people who are resisting, and insisting that those people be treated like law-abiding citizens is kind of like, that's kind of that the treating someone like a law-abiding citizen is a privilege reserved for somebody who's abiding by the law. And these people are not. They're coming so close to breaking the law that, like, I understand that they're skirting the law and they're entering like a legally dubious place. But the fact is, regardless of what rules are implicated, regardless of, think about this for a second. In practice, just regardless of what rules are implicated, regardless of what's pedantically true, it's an organized network of people that are like actively resisting, and it's funded by government. Like, all of this stuff about like, oh, she was just a mom driving home from soccer practice, like, that was a lie, and they probably knew it was a lie at the time. Like, is it a coincidence that this level of resistance happened when he went in to investigate the fraud? Could it be? Could it be that there's like a tremendous amount of fraud, and if it gets uncovered, then a lot of people are going to go to jail? So those people have every incentive to fight like hell and to cloak themselves in virtue while they do it. No. I'm not just like pursuing my own self-interest. I promise you, this is about Somalians. I just really like Somalians. I just really like living next to Somalians. Get the fuck out of here with that. No, absolutely not. I do not. Nobody likes Somalians that much. Just being real. Like, no, I don't believe it. Like, this is just, It's crazy. I don't know, man. And I remember 2020. Like, I remember what it's like to get like swept up in it. I got really swept up in Black Lives Matter because I had a bunch of black friends at the time, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I don't like racism. Racism is bad because that's how they get you. Racism is bad, and the police shouldn't kill people if they don't have to. Oh, that's super reasonable. That's super reasonable. But that's like how they get you in the door, and then they give you a bunch of dumb bullshit while you're in there, and they have you go spread your dumb bullshit to other people. That's what happens to. And I really do think it's filling a hole that religion is supposed to fill for a lot of people. I think we live in a very secular world. A lot of people are not like religiously devoted. So, and I think that's what's like activating this, like, because it's, I don't know if I buy this whole, they're all being paid us out. Because here's like, how much money would you have to get paid to pick up a flashbang grenade? That's what I keep coming back to, man. Like, you have to pay me a lot of fucking money to lose a fucking eye. I'm just saying, these people are acting like they truly believe in the cause. They're at least acting like it. They're acting with a level of devotion that you really only see from true believers. And that's tripping me out because what? That's transparently stupid. And like, I can't remember any of them feeling this passionate about it like 2 months ago. Like, this looks like manufacturing consent to me. And this is what, makes me like dubious of democracy in general, especially like one person, one vote is like, we have fucking mob rule then. And we're just like at the whims of a hysterical mob. That's just like a stupid way, which can now in the age of like mass media can be programmed. You can manufacture a public opinion, broadly speaking, with TikTok. So you could just like influence the hysterical mob to support your like evil world ending policies and they'll all vote for it if you could just think of the right branding. So it's like, fuck, man. And that creates all kinds of like terrible incentives to just basically like shamelessly lie to people and to get people increasingly addicted to their phones. That's the incentive there. And just like use it as a tool to separate you from your money and influence your opinion in the direction that they want it. Yeah, that's fucking horrible. Apparently you can just convince people to rebel against the government without that much influence. Like, it doesn't take much. I mean, I also think economic instability like helps. Like, I've obviously like I don't think any of these people who are like in the streets in Minnesota are like doing super well or like having a great time in life. I mean, they look like there's a reason both of them were 37 because that's right at the age where you start to be like, oh, so I gave up on all my dreams and I also didn't accomplish anything. My life is going to be meaningless. I don't have children. I gave up all my dreams for the safe path in life. I didn't get what I wanted from that. And I don't have children. Ruh-roh, I better make my life mean something. That's 37. That's the age that happens, respectfully. I'm not trying to trigger anybody. I'm 34, by the way, so I already gave up everything to pursue stand-up comedy. I already did that, so. So you could say that was an overreaction, but, but I'm familiar with the sensation. By the way, sponsor this half hour, my stand-up comedy, which I'm going to be doing in a city near you. Make sure to follow me on social media so you'll know the places that I'm going and when I'm going there. I'm going to be in Medford, Oregon on the 6th and the 7th. I'm going to be, and then the next weekend, the weekend after that, Valentine's Day weekend, I think that's the 13th and the 14th, I'm going to be at Joker's Comedy Club in Richland, which is going to be fucking sick. I love Joker's Comedy Club in Richland. That's my favorite place. It's one of my favorite places to go. I always get a great reception there. People they really fucking like comedy there. That's nice. And it's just like a sick ass club, man. That club is so I'll talk about Joker some other time. But yeah, no. So come see me there. And then I'm doing a show in Tulalip on the 13th. And they got a casino out there. Fuck, what's that casino called? Doesn't matter. I'll post this all on social media. And then I'm doing one. Then I'm playing fucking somewhere I'll be in Walla Walla on the 19th. Let's see. There's another one I'm forgetting. It doesn't matter. This is going on my social media, so we don't have to mention it now. I'm just shouting myself out. Also, Stream Elements tip jar. Hit that Stream Elements tip jar. Oh, by the way, real quick, I do want to remind you of this. We are taking collections to get me a Candace Owens body pillow. So if we are able to get that with audience donation, please, if you send a donation to the Stream Elements tip jar, link for that is in the description of this video. If you send a donation to the Stream Elements tip jar, make sure to earmark it for body pillow. And that will go straight to the body pillow. I won't spend it on anything else. That's where we're going to, and if when we get it, we're going to get like a nice one that's like conformed. It's like body shaped and like conformed, and it will go in the background of this video. That will happen. So make sure to donate that. What else was I going to talk about? Oh, I was going to go through the chat some more because you guys are actually I have such a good chat. One thing I like is like my audience is in the top quintile, which is a really good sign and a really bad sign. Meaning the top 20% in IQ. I can tell just by what you guys are typing in here. And which is really good because that it makes doing the show interesting for me, but it's bad because there's a good chance that normies are not going to like it ever. And that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I like you guys better. I don't want to have a bunch of retards in my audience anyway. The 40K commissar drip goes hard. Bro, that's what I'm saying. Dude, that's what I'm saying. That dude looks so gangster. I hated seeing him go. He was like a 5'7" and just like projecting fucking aura and leadership. Bro, god damn, I was hard seeing him go, man. I mean, I understand changing the leader. Sometimes that's the right decision. I don't know. We'll see. But oh man, he just looks so gangster. He looked the part. But I guess so did General Custer. So looking the part is not the most important thing. Let's see what else we got here. They got rid of the army coat guy to keep the faces at the top changing so they can't focus on hating just one face. Yeah, that might actually be good because that guy was getting a lot of specific hate, and I think his family was in hiding or something. So like, yeah, maybe like taking him off this assignment and giving somebody else an opportunity is like not a bad move. That's the thing. It's like a lot of this stuff, the media is trying to frame it as like I've seen a lot of headlines with humiliating in the humiliating. It's like, is it? Or is this like, sometimes you like try to do something. This is what I'm saying is like everyone in the media is like retarded gifted kids who've never really tried at anything. And this is what I say that like Donald Trump is willing to try something and fail. That one of the things they tag him on is that he's had bankruptcies. It's like, yeah, because he started like a bajillion businesses and not all of them worked. But because the media is full of retarded gifted kids who've never failed at anything because they've never tried at anything. They don't understand that. They've never put themselves in a position where they might like grow emotionally. So they don't have, or they've never put themselves in a position where they were risking their whole ass on a venture because they believed in what they were doing and had that not work out and had to put yourself back together after that. Like they haven't had that experience. And Donald Trump has had that so many times, he doesn't even give a fuck. So he's just like, he'll just try shit out because he's really confident. And then if it doesn't work, he'll reassess and try again but like, media doesn't have figures in the media don't have any concept of doing that. So like, I don't know. I just think it's like, yeah, a lot of this is like, I think jumping straight to the conclusion that it looks like a retreat, like optically, I think that's, I understand why people would want to frame it that way, but it's like, yeah, we actually don't know what's going on the inside. There may be more going on here than is immediately obvious. Let's see. Can you only imagine how in panic mode those people that were in that chat are right now, totally afraid of the FBI showing up at their door? Yes. And honestly, dude, we must, someone must be held accountable for this. Please, I am like, someone must be held accountable because this has been like a really awful thing. And people died because of this. This is what is like bugging me about this is like, whoever is doing this knows that people will die, but it's just like bodies to them. They don't care. They're taking like disaffected, like slightly retarded millennials who never accomplished anything and just like throwing them as like human target practice in front of federal agents with the hope that one of them will be shot and they can turn, one of them will be handsome enough to. Did you see that they face-tuned his photo? Because he didn't look, he just wasn't hot enough to be a martyr. So they face-tuned his photo. Did you guys see that? Dude, it's fucking, hold on. I think I have that pulled up. Oh my God, dude. It's one of the most, that's one of the most cynical things I've ever said. By the way, you guys want to know what happened, where clavicular came from? That kind of shit is why. That's why. Because that is like psychotic. But anyway, hold on. What's that guy's name? Anyway, I'll look it up. I don't have it right in front of me, but I have it bookmarked. But I have so many bookmarks. Anyway, that was fucking nuts, dude. And that's because the thing is an op. They're just like hoping they're just gonna like throw people at the problem, hoping that somebody, here it is, hoping that somebody dies and that person that dies is hot enough to be a good martyr. That's the most like cynical shit that I've ever heard. Here we go. Okay. This is what I'm saying. See, they face-tuned it. Hold on.
MSNBC thought that Alex...
See that? They face-tuned it. MSNBC did this. Ah, fuck, dude. That's cynical. That's some cynical shit. Do you see why this is just like bumming me out? Like, I'm not even like in like a funny mood about it. I'm just bummed that like we live in a world where the media is just like lying to people on purpose. And there's people who are deliberately using social media to try to convince people to go get shot so that they can use that as like a symbol for political motivations. Like that's like the most like cynical, evil, awful shit that I've ever heard of in my life. And like a lot of my normie friends would think that I was like literally a Nazi if I said that. And that is like such a fucking bummer, dude. Oh my God. I am not usually, if you are a new viewer, I am not usually this much of a bummer. Usually I am very entertaining. Usually we just talk about women here. That's mostly what we do. So it's just been like a Minneapolis week because it's just such a bummer. I'm just sad. The algorithm wants you to feel afraid and scared. That is 100% true. By the way, we had a kick chatter a while ago. Hey, buddy. Hey, Kitty 597. All right. This is exactly true. So this is that is, if they can make you like scared, then they can make you turn to daddy government for a solution, and they can make you vote for safety, which voting for safety is great for the people who want to control you. So they love that. They do it using safety as a vehicle. How is Donnie Boy not wearing orange already? For real. For real. You have more respect to journalism than does Todd Levin. Oh, thanks, buddy. That's probably fair. The media didn't miss it. They started immediately playing defense for it. Yeah. They need to be able to. Oh, you guys are talking. That's nice. Yeah, dude. I don't know. Oh, that's so many chats. Sorry, I was going to read all your chats, but it's so many. Bring the IQ level down. I'm doing my part. That's hilarious. I said you guys are top quintile earlier. That's hilarious. Yeah. No. Oh, Strider's here, friend of the channel. What's up, man? They took Bovino, the professional soldier, and put Tom Holman, the bulldog, beside him. They'll beg for Bovino before the end. Yeah. Okay. So one thing I was thinking is like, during the Civil War, Lincoln changed generals a bunch of times, and it was kind of embarrassing there for a bit. And then he put Grant in charge, and Grant was like, I'm just going to fucking ruin your whole way of life. I'm just going to do that until I'm just going to like ruin your way of life until you get tired of watching me ruin your way of life. And then when you quit, then it's over. And it's like, sometimes like a lot of people are just like not going to be able to take that. I didn't know like cultural genocide was like a weapon of war. I didn't know you could do that. I mean, I guess that is what war was for a long time, but that's like fucking like ancient and barbaric. Like ending someone's civilization is like fucking crazy. That's like an ancient barbaric way of practicing war. You know, we're just gonna ruin all your shit, and that won. That strategy ultimately won. So yeah, and so I mean, it's like sometimes like finding the right guy to put in charge is the key. And also, like, I think about this. Like, I'm sure, like, I know that guy was like had major aura and we loved him, Vivino, but like, imagine what that's like being just like a bureaucrat, just a lifetime public servant, law enforcement official turned, probably more of a bureaucratic advisory role now at this point in his life, suddenly is both one of the most famous and most hated men in America. And people are like actively trying to harm him and his family. And that he wasn't that famous 3 months ago. You know what I mean? Like that, I understand him maybe not wanting to do it anymore. I don't know if that was the situation or if that contributed, but I tell you, I can imagine him being like, I'll do it. But like, if you want to fire me, I'm not upset. It's like, who wants the smoke? Like, who wants to deal with that? It's like coaching the Cleveland Browns. By the way, that was a sports joke. So if anybody watches sports, trying to appeal to a broader audience. All right. Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. Well, Weasel's here. Fuck yeah. What's up, man? Friend of the channel. Minnesota is the perfect place to coordinate social unrest to distract from political unrest. The affluent are in protected communities, and the general populace is in urban areas or predominantly liberal. Okay. Because I was wondering why it was Minneapolis. I'm like, oh, there has to, because this is where it popped off in 2022. And there's like not, prior to that, there was like not a history of like awesome revolutions in Minneapolis. Like if LA riots, I'm like, yeah, okay. Because it's 70 degrees all year round. And like also there's a lot of different races living right next to each other that don't always like each other all the time. So like, yeah, it makes sense that there's LA because it's convenient because it's warm and you have like a diversity where people don't always get along. And there's like, and also like, so just like a lot of racial tension, that'll fucking do it. If you look at like what they've rioted about, like if you told me there was a racial tension riot in Los Angeles right now, I'd be like, yeah, that figures. But like, why Minneapolis? And what's crazy about it is like, it's all fucking white people out there. You notice that? There's no, like, black people are like not doing this. They're like, we're sitting this one out. This doesn't seem like our problem. So I remember the George Floyd riots looked demographically very different. That's kind of interesting. What is that about? Is this like, is this okay? So my thought is this might be like some kind of like virtue signaling thing. Like black people were out for George Floyd because it was in self-interested. It was like, we don't want that guy is, they see a kinship with George Floyd and I don't want to be killed by police either. I don't want people I know to be killed by police kind of deal. Like that makes sense to me from like a self-interest perspective. But like this looks like just white people virtue signaling and just like wanting everyone to know how much they care and how like empathetic they are. I'm so empathetic. So it seems like a big virtue signal. And I think because for black people, they don't perceive this as being in their self-interest. They're like, no, I'm good. Which is fine. By the way, this is what I mean when I say like virtue signaling is performative virtue signaling is self-interest. That is a power grab. That's not, it's not that they care a lot about other people. It's that they're psychotically narcissistic and delusionally fanatical about beliefs that defy reality. This is crazy. It's like, but that's the other thing too, is I don't know if we can like debate and argue our way out of this. Like I talk to a lot of people on the woke left. I know that position kind of like backwards and forwards at this point And I've also lately, I've been talking to a lot of people on the dissident right. There's not a reconciliation between those two positions. They don't have anything in common. There's nothing they can talk about because they just have completely irreconcilable views of what the future of the United States should look like. There's no way they could talk it out. They wouldn't even have, they don't even have common language anymore. And that's actually like, that's tricky. Like one of the things you got to, that's kind of how they like suss out that you're not a Fed, is they'll be like a Fed, but like a woke person undercovers. They'll like be offensive on purpose to try to suss you out, to try to like filter out the cool people, which I think is like interesting and probably works. Anyway, what was I doing? The wheeze. Yes, they don't feel the pain of what they do. Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. So that's what that makes sense. So it's like, so basically the affluent, well-to-do white people that like want to protest can like do it without having any of their personal shit fucked up. It's a flyover state, which takes away the coastal argument. Over a third of the people have reported some kind of psychological malady or depression, and the refugee programs have ran for decades. Oh my God. How long have they been thinking about this? Oh, fuck, dude. Yeah, let's see. Alex Brady. That looks maxing dude is a total meth head. He isn't going to end well. Oh yeah. So that's the thing about clavicular. He is going to turn himself into some kind of Frankenstein's monster right before our eyes. It is going to be horrible to watch. I am not looking forward to it. I pray for him kind of regularly, kind of a lot. I pray for that young man. Oof, boy, man, he's got some darkness on him. I'll tell you that. I'm not sure if it's in him or on him, but there's some darkness around him, man. And I pray for him every day for that reason. Like I think he's gonna turn himself into a horrible Frankenstein's monster before it's all over. It's gonna be hard to look at. It's just, you guys are familiar with the Mouse Utopia experiment. I talk about it somewhat frequently, so I'll reference it again here. Mouse Utopia, basically, long story short, this researcher replicated this a bunch of times, but he made these little communities of mice where they had basically everything they need and optimal conditions. And after the population grew to a certain point, it basically stopped breeding and destroyed itself. And different mice did different things. And there was one category of male mice who all they did was groom themselves. And there were females who did this too. All they did, they didn't try to breed. They didn't even try to breed ever. They just groomed themselves obsessively. And just like they called them the beautiful ones. And when I see like the looks maxers or the super or the crazy amount of plastic surgery people are having so that they can look better on Instagram or whatever, when I see that, that's what I think of. People who spend all day preening and grooming themselves, but like never not busying themselves with the continuation of the species. You know, literally. And there's this thing, I don't know if this is true or not, but supposedly clavicular is sterile. I don't know if that's true or not. There was also a rumor going around that he was going to be a father soon. So I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, but yeah, absolutely. Political corruption. Bingo. Let's see. Here's some great women advice. Never marry one. Never, never. Oh man, yeah, dude. I don't know. I think we probably should get married, but it's like picking a good one is like really fucking hard. Like honestly, that's the thing where I get frustrated is like, first of all, I know I'm single because of it's my fault. I'm not disputing that. It is 100% my fault that I'm single. Let's just be clear. But I look at it and it's like now it is to the point where like a lot of the people who are actually good at relationships are already paired up with people. And so it's just the people left who suck at relationships now That's who's available. Everybody's single, and it's their own fault. Everybody who's here, it's their own fault. They did it to themselves through one means or another. You got to think of it that way. Because if you meet somebody who's still blaming other people at this point in your life, it's like you are the problem. But it is also true that like finding a good woman now is extremely hard. Because so many of them are like sucked into like TikTok brain bullshit. It's like there's so many people, there's so many women, and there's men too. It irritate me, but so many women that you talk to are just like on TikTok brain bullshit, and they're just like repeating whatever fucking TikTok told them to do. And it's like, don't you care about the issues? It's like not remotely. I could not care less if you paid me. Yeah, I don't even think it's weird. Like it couldn't, like, I don't know. It's deeply frustrating to have, conversations like that. Now, the cool thing about like the internet is your search pool is like the whole world essentially. So you can like meet people. Like I've met a bunch of fucking weirdos since doing the show. That's been cool. So I know there are like cool chicks out there. They're just like really hard to find because they're not on dating apps. They're not at bars. They're just like at home, like reading and doing funny voices at their cats. It's where they're hiding. Because like what like decent woman would want to fucking go outside in this level of degeneracy? No, I get it. I get where they're coming from. They're just hard to find, man. Not impossible. Not impossible. There are good ones, but just vanishingly difficult. I'm also like a weird person. That's the other thing too. So it's like mostly my fault. Theo needs to take a speed reading course. I'm reading slowly for your benefit. Let's see. That was Sherman with his high genocidal march to the sea. Grant was the moderate one. Oh, gotcha. My bad. But that's the point. See, this is why I have a good chat. That's the point. Is like sometimes having the right guy in charge makes a difference. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Incredible aura. Did you guys know that the powder dusty guy got his hairstyle just like Tim Pool's? That's why he never ever takes off his hat, and that's fine. I don't know who the powder dusty guy is. That's okay. Do you guys know who that is? Post it in the chat. Hey, Dusty, why are you always in your hat? What are you hiding, bro? Oh, me? When Powder Dusty washes his hair, he only has side parts. That's why that has to kind of suck. Oh, no, it's just chilly. No, and my hair's wet today because I took a shower. The communist move is to use white people's kindness against them by manipulating their emotions. Bingo. That's a huge one. That's a big one. Yeah, so basically white guilt is highly weaponizable. I don't know. I think people, first of all, okay, because we come from an Anglo culture, so we're very guilt motivated because we're founded by the Puritans, right? Which is a guilt motivated religion. And that ethos has kind of seeped into American culture. It drives, like, this is why we feel like a sense of responsibility to the rest of the world, is it's that like Protestant, like guilt motivated ethos. That's what motivates it. So then even people who are not religious, and they still feel that. And that's at the center of wokeness. Although wokeness is more driven by envy. Yeah, it's envy. So like there's people in it who really want to destroy other people, because they have more. Yeah, so that's a huge problem. But yeah, like a lot of the time, so that's also, I think, why so many white women end up going non-binary, because I don't think they can handle the guilt of not being oppressed and still stay in woke spaces, or why so many of them, and men, obviously white men, they have that incentive to do that. Because like it's really hard to, because that whole like racial hierarchy thing, like drilling it and just like using it as guilt and guilt and guilt and guilt, and like builds up after a while. You know, it builds up after a while. And like, I think the pressure of it, if you're going to remain ideologically consistent, I think that does push people to like identify as non-binary if they're going to hang out in activist spaces, you know, as sort of like performative virtue signaling, I think. So like, that's crazy, but I don't know. And then it's kind of like the same thing as like, it's weird because like a lot of times, especially this is true of like guys who are, like one thing guys will do in these spaces is they'll be performatively feminist. And then a lot of times those guys that are like performatively feminist end up being the ones with the allegations, you know, whereas the guys with like the traditional chivalrous views that are supposedly misogynistic are the ones you could actually rely on to take care of you and look out for women. So it's kind of paradoxical, man. It's kind of paradoxical, but these like, I think a lot of these like communist spaces, I have to imagine it's just constant cutthroat and one-upsmanship and always trying to virtue signal and outdo each other, because that's the kind of personality that's attracted to that, you know? Yeah, but yeah. Let's see. Yeah, let's go to the chat. Let's see. What killed black people riding body cams? Since 2020, body cams dispelled the racist cops narrative. When it was discovered they were right most of the time. BLM won't try that again. Okay, that actually did have a huge impact. Oh my God. We started getting the body cam footage for some of those interactions. It's like, yeesh, these are rough, man. God, man, cops have a tough job. Man, that's why I had a conversation with somebody about the recent ICE shooting, the Alex Preddy shooting. I had a conversation with a young man about it, and he was like, dude, it looks like looks pretty bad. And I'm like, fair enough. Because I think a lot of people want to be nuanced. They want to be fair. But I asked him something. I was like, have you ever been at a big pile of people where everybody was trying to do violence? And he said, no. And I was like, okay, well, when you're in a big pile of humans and everybody's trying to do violence, it's your adrenaline gets going and you get tunnel vision. You get very focused, and it's easy to miss stuff when you have tunnel vision. And this is especially true if somebody in the pile has a gun, because that has now escalated it to a potential lethal interaction. So I think it's possible that homie could have just like been tunnel vision, focused on the hands, you know, didn't realize the gun had been taken off of him, didn't realize it was a negligent discharge. Like, man, like that shit makes a lot of sense to me. I'm sorry. It's just like, and then if you factor in like the fact that like they've been deliberately antagonized by these organized groups for like weeks now, every time those people are sitting around just like blowing their whistles, like honking their horns and cussing at him, it just like raises the stakes of every interaction. So it increases the likelihood. And like some of these people, if you're going to go up and get in a law enforcement officer's face, and within the larger context of all of these things that are happening that are ratcheting up the stakes of that interaction, and also all of the fact that there's people on TikTok right now saying it's cool to murder ICE agents. You guys who have guns need to take them to protests and murder ICE agents. Like, people are saying that kind of a lot. I'm just saying, I don't blame them for being jumpy. You know? I don't blame them. Like, this is like not a normal law enforcement interaction. This is an organized resistance, which is fucking wild to say. That's weird. Like, dude, for over what? I don't understand it, man. Probably has something to do with where they can get away with this. Yeah, I think that Weasel made a really good point that like geographically it's a good place to so I wonder if this is like a testing ground where they're like testing this to see if they could deploy it elsewhere. Normally, so true. We are a lot wiser to their hustle now too. Yeah, that's the other thing too. I have I've noticed that the hustle is really only working on white guilt now. Like, I think it's pretty I think being able to get black people on board with Black Lives Matter, I think the ship has kind of sailed on that. I think, yeah, it seems like white guilt is the missing ingredient. Yeah. Well, and that's very motivating. And this is kind of like a religious devotion. It's this desire to, what's cool about it is, I always say like wokeness is like a funhouse mirror of Christianity, right? So they have this idea of you're inherently sinful because you are white, but what they don't have is any kind of like, there's nothing you can do to really ever atone for that sin. Everything you do forever is not good enough. So it's like this never ending like guilt thing that you're following, you're chasing. It's this never ending, like you're on like a hamster wheel of guilt forever, but you're constantly trying to prove your virtue by showing off like how performatively feminist you can be, or performatively race conscious you can be, or like as a white person, I need to use my platform. Like you're always doing shit like that. And I think white women are doing it the most because they feel the most guilty. And they're trying to, I think it's a lot of this rage supposedly is like externalized guilt. Like people feel bad. Like, and well, it starts that way. And then it like ends up being this like really, really toxic, horrible rage. And it's the same thing. Like, okay, when I talk about the dissident right, the breakdown is at the level of tactics. And it's the same thing as the left. The right, the dissident right uses victim narratives the same way the left does, but instead of using white guilt, they're using white grievance, which white grievance has been untouchable for a long time. We haven't really been able to, like, white people haven't been able to organize on the basis of being white since like the 60s. That is like a big no-no because of the bad mustache man, right? But the dissident right is doing that. And the problem is like anytime you're like basing your narrative on grievance, like that is just, it just ends badly because you end up focusing on a bunch of things that are outside of your control. And that is a way to make yourself very angry and upset and like not mentally well adjusted, But if your life is already not going well, then it helps to be able to blame it on something you can't control. Like if it's like if you're, let's say you're on the dissident right and you're like, my life isn't going well, it's the Jews, or it's like, whatever. And then, or it's women or whatever. And then if you're on the left, you're like, well, of course I'm not successful. We live in a fascist police state that, oppresses people. How can I think about, becoming gainfully employed? There's oppressed people that I need to rescue. I have to use my white privilege. Why don't you use your white privilege to get a fucking job, Kevin? How about that? How about you secure some employment so you have something to do during the day, and then you wouldn't have so much free time to protest? How about that? And it's like, but if you talk to leftists, they're like, someone should do something, but not me because I have like ADHD or whatever. They all have like some like fucking ailment that prevents them from actually taking any real action. But they're like, someone should do something. And that's what's so fucking sinister about it is this, like, it's all about like passing the buck and finding somebody else to go get hurt on their behalf. To, credit to Renee Good and Alex Preddy. At least they were willing to, put their lives on the line for the cause. Although, to be fair, I didn't get the impression either of them thought they were in real danger. Like, I don't think either of them had any sense of how much danger they were in right before they went. So I think these people, part of the problem, I think, is like they're very hopped up on propaganda. They're very fiction brained, but they're also, I think they're also really bad at assessing risk. Like really like terminally bad at assessing risk. There's no talking it out with leftists because the morals and positions and ad hoc, they're not consistent and change with the current needs of the party, no matter how they contradiction. Yeah, that's exactly right. Normie can't debate crazy. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Well, it's not just that. It's like because they're this, and I've talked to like people I've had on my show about this before. I've talked to you guys about this before. I think for a lot of people who are on the right or who are Christian or who are, otherwise just like normal people who are appalled by things on the left, one of the things that is important to you guys is things that are true and telling the truth and being rooted in reality and making sure your beliefs match what the facts are. And if that's how you feel about things, you're going to have a hard time with the left because they don't care about any of that. They care about what feels good right now. Or in some cases, they care about what's going to give them some kind of like personal advantage. Like sometimes it depends on how caught up in the power games they are and how cynical they are. Like some people will, some leftists will just make up a belief that they don't actually have because that's like woker, and I'm like, and they're just telegraphing their virtue. Right, but they'll pretend to support things they don't actually. Like dating trans women doesn't make you gay. Oh, so where's your trans girlfriend? You know what I mean? But they'll like say shit. They'll say shit because it like elevates them within the group. Depending on how cynical they are. And it's easy to get in like a self-reinforcing feedback loop where and again, not all of this is like calculated and intentional. Like some people, they just like get in the habit of like talking that way. And then you want to hang out because you want social acceptance. So you just like repeat it. And then pretty soon, if you're talking about it all the time, you start to believe it. And then it gradually escalates. But yeah, like, dude, like it's crazy that they've been able to organize like a paramilitary force around this almost. This is crazy. And they like, this is the thing. It's like not a question of like ideas. It's they are honest to God, religious, true believers. They believe what they're saying. Let's see. The current actions of the virtuous class is akin to the Romans conquering of Italy. It wasn't done with force. They just stopped referring to cultures like the Etruscans as unique or individual. Yeah. Yeah, dude. That's actually a really good parallel, and I'm glad that you made that. Yeah, that's a really good parallel. And what's crazy is like when I talk to like young guys on the dissident right, like the Zoomerwaffen, that's what they talk to me. They talk to me about the fall of Rome, and they talk about the need to form strong Christian families and like the need to oppose Satan and the Jews. They do talk about the Jews quite a bit. More than I really like know what to do with, but that's they just became other Romans. And then that ends up diluting the culture, which is, by the way, one thing I was thinking about, you can say whatever you want about this, but I was thinking about the way these like leftist religious fanatics are right now. It kind of reminds me of the way Christianity took over the Roman Empire, where they just like infested the institutions and were just like fanatical about their beliefs. And so because Rome had kind of drifted away from its traditions and religion, there was a sort of like a void basically that was filled with this new emergent religion. So it reminds me of that moment a little bit. But that doesn't mean that like wokeness will be victorious. I think the problem with communism, because it is like an offshoot of communism. It's where it's like downstream of communism. It's like a evolved form of communism. It's like gay race communism. It's like communism if it were gay and racist. Yeah. Man. Yeah. And so the problem with it is that its presuppositions about reality aren't true, and its understanding of human nature is bad. So it will fail inevitably because of that. Let's see. Hail. Oh, Vatlaw's here. What's up, buddy? Let's see. I saw the mice experiment. Lots of parallels to today. We live in a world wherein people just take photos of themselves, selfies. Yeah, dude. I don't think human beings were ever supposed to like stare at themselves as much as we do. I don't think we were ever supposed to take pictures of ourselves the way that we do now. I don't think that was like ever a thing that was supposed to happen. And I don't think it's good for our psyche. Think about this. If you're like walking around in the woods as like a caveman, you will like see your reflection in water sometimes. But like to be staring at yourself all day, I mean, I think that's where all the crazy like plastic surgery shit is coming from. It's like I think people are making themselves neurotic by staring at their reflections in a way that just is not necessary. And it leads to a counterproductive amount of grooming. I really do. And some grooming is fine, but like, I mean, looks maxing is an example of like taking grooming to a truly like psychotic degree. But I've said this before on the show. I don't think looks maxing is irrational, given that if you're in this culture and you're a young guy and you're not stupendously talented or stupendously wealthy, probably the best way to improve your quality of life is to become good looking. If you can become good looking, then that's awesome for you. That will help in literally every area of your life. So that's not irrational, especially now in the era of like Instagram with how like shallow and stupid our society is. And there's literally no paths for men to pursue virtue. There's like no, like previous societies had ideas for how a man could prove himself to be virtuous. You could be highly skilled. You could get a trade. You could join the military. You could go build a wall. You know, you had all these different options for making yourself appealing to your society and adding value to your society. And now I think a lot of men like feel completely fucking useless and checked out. And they have no patriotism and they have no sense of like motivation to like do things because all they're going to do is get yelled at. So yeah, dude. For some people, living their best life is living their unmarried life. Yeah, that's probably true. Hey, look, I root for people, man. I root for people. Whatever you can figure out, man. I'm pro marriage around here because I want because I view it as a duty. I view it differently because I'm Catholic, right? So I think of it as duty. I have a duty to, and mostly this is about me, and you can do whatever you want with it. But I think I have a duty to create the next generation. I have a duty to my ancestors because they worked so hard and so many of them died so that I could be here today and have this life that I have and have this prosperity that I have. I have the opportunity to pursue the things that are important to me and I get to choose what that is. It's a huge thing. Not all my ancestors got that, you know, so I have an obligation to my ancestors to make the best out of the life I've got. And I think to have the next generation. I have an obligation to them. I owe that to them because they sacrificed so much for me. I owe that to them. It's the least I could do is create the next generation and hopefully keep the civilization going, man. I mean, man, I worry about the state of the civilization, man. I worry about that. People seem dead set on tearing this thing down. But I tell you what, man, if we don't get this birth rate order thing sorted out, we're not going to have a future. That's why I believe I have to. I should, but I'm nowhere close. I'm also doing my best to live my single unmarried life the best I can, you know, but you know, we'll see. We'll see. Let's see. I'm slowly getting to that point when I'm realizing that life is better just being single, no drama, no bullshit. Yeah, that's true. But I think you become a better person by living in proximity to a woman, and she becomes a better person by living in proximity to you. And then the world is full of better people. Also, life is a team sport, and it's helpful to have the buddy system. You know, and some women bring good trouble. That's true. I'll say that in defense of women is they do like needlessly fuss about things that don't matter kind of incessantly. They definitely shouldn't vote. But a lot of times, including a woman in your life can offer a lot of positive advantages. They bring, generally speaking, you know, they do, you know, net positive. Net positive. So it's good trouble. And a little bit of trouble is good to shake up your routine. A little bit of trouble makes things interesting. Not too much trouble. Don't bite off more than you can chew. But no women are zero trouble. That's just a fact. All women are a little bit of trouble. It's just how much trouble can you handle? Oh, Dusty. Oh, okay, Dusty. All right, man. I don't know who that is. We'll talk. That's okay, bro. I'm making fun of you, bro. I'm just joking on Dusty. That's okay. No worries, bro. Nate, bro. Yeah. Let's see. Wokeness is just communism. It's pure agitprop. Nothing they do is new. It's all but yeah, it is like a communist rebrand, and it does seem like they're. I mean, well, now, I mean, fuck, man. Where I guess my thing is like, it just didn't pop up organically. It just didn't. Like, somebody did it on purpose, and they did it on purpose knowing that people were going to die, and knowing that the people who are going to throw themselves into this, that are susceptible to this kind of programming, are like disaffected people who are like mentally maybe not in a good place. And they targeted those people. It wasn't just that they knew that was going to happen. They targeted those people on purpose. They intentionally, dude, this is so upsetting to ponder. It makes me so upset because, like, what they're saying is, like, it's just intentionally targeting people that you know are not having a good time anyway, and giving them a cause to believe in, knowing that they're going to put themselves out there and that some of them are going to die on purpose to achieve your anti-human policy objectives. That's insane to me. That's crazy. That's crazy evil. That's the most evil thing I can fucking imagine. And like billions of dollars went through that. And there's people in our country right now. I'm sure Tim Walz is partially responsible. I'm sure Jacob Frey is partially responsible. I don't know. There's government officials in these group chats. I hope they get arrested. Like, I mean, this is like the most evil shit I can imagine. And it's like, where did it come from? Who's responsible? And how do we stop it from happening again? That's insane. That's insane. Like, this is like the most evil thing I can imagine. I mean, well, maybe not. Like, probably if I really worked at it. But it's just like, that's a horrible thing to do, to lie to people about reality in hopes that they will go out into the street and get themselves killed so that you can advance your agenda. That's just a horrible thing to do to somebody. My apprentice says based about the guilty women. Yeah, for real. Let's see. The communist rule is always blame others for what you do. And if they blame you, then play the victim. It's that simple. Yeah, dude. It is kind of like, it feels like arguing with like a crazy woman. It really does, because they'll just like drawing parallels between the Alex Preddy situation and like Kyle Rittenhouse is just completely retarded on the basis of facts. It's just like those two things aren't even remotely similar, but they'll just be like, the leftists are so stupid. They'll just be like, so I can jerk off in my bedroom, but I can't jerk off in front of an elementary school. Oh, why are you so sex negative? It's like, those things aren't similar. That's not the same thing. Oh, I can have sex with my wife. Why can't I have sex with my grandma then, conservative? Explain that. Shut up. That's not. Those things aren't similar. So anyway, I'm not going to relitigate Kyle Rittenhouse here. You can look that up if you want to. But like, that's just such a fucking retarded thing to bring up. It's just completely idiotic. And it's like, what's crazy about that is that they're so on this like concealed carry point, when homie did not have his ID or his license on him, which anybody who's like big into the carry community wouldn't do that because it's illegal. So it's like violating law, and like intentionally not having ID on him meant he was probably out there knowing that he was going to get into trouble. He was out there armed knowing he was going to get into trouble. Like, I mean, guy, and he's part of the fucking group of people who were doing that. So like all this whole narrative of just like ISIS just being super mean to these poor innocent people who are just minding their own sweet Christian business, and they're just, that's not real. That's not real. And it's like, okay, it's not like lacking in nuance or like right wing to say that. It's just like factually that does not describe what has happened at all. Like, hold on. It's cultural assimilation in reverse. If you can convince uneducated people to ignore individuality and categorize everyone, then you can redefine the categories ad nauseum to consolidate power. I think that's exactly right. I think that's a good read. It's actually kind of horrifying to watch. It's It's weird because there's like a reshuffling of identities, and it's like the left is so multicultural, but they assimilate like the Borg. Whereas I'm a comedian, so I hang out with a lot of different colors of people, and comedians say some of the most racist shit you've ever heard, but I know those guys are like down to ride for me. You know, like no matter what. And it's not, and the thing is like comedians, they don't care. Like, you could like the racist community is actually like more inclusive. I'm not the first one to point this out, but the racist community is way more inclusive than the like leftist progressive woke community. You know, because racist community doesn't care. Just also be racist. And you can hang out with us. Doesn't matter what race you are. As long as you're racist and funny, you can hang out. Well, that's real. Like comedians are like they do not do. I mean, that's not true. There are woke comedians, not the ones I hang out with. That's not the people I spend time around. I'm not into that. You know, they're super like comedians say the wildest shit. And also those are the guys who are down to ride for you no matter what. Those are the guys who they're being honest. They're trusting you. I think progressive people are actually like very, very, very racist, and they feel very, very, very guilty about it. I truly believe that. And then that's why, and they're actually like deeply uncomfortable being around people who are different from them, and they're projecting that onto other people. So they're like being performative about it. Cause like I'm a comedian, so I'm like pretty comfortable. Like I probably run into like more trans and gay people than the average person, because I'm always hanging out in like art communities and shit. So just for like the average like conservative Catholic, I probably interact with those people like 100x more. You know, so I don't like, you know, and I don't like, I mean, they're just like people pretty much, but like, you know, I don't want to make the same life choices as them, but like, you know, you just kind of bump into them. It's whatever. But like, I actually do think like progressive people are deeply, deeply, deeply uncomfortable around people who are different from them, and they're projecting that. I think that's a big thing. So it's just like, but people who are like severely mentally ill and like not having a good time with life, I think that's what's going on. And that's a huge bummer, because like, man, but now they have positions that are like irreconcilable. That's the thing, is like, how do you incorporate these people into civilized society? Like, what do you do? They think Trump is like literally Hitler. They think it's like Nazi times now. They think it's like cyberpunk dystopia today, you know? But they think it's like the Nazis are winning. And it's like, no, it's like the administrative state is winning. The HR department is winning. The fucking like the highly feminized, passive aggressive bitch ass society that we've built. That's what's winning. A society which has no ability to tolerate truths that are difficult or complicated. Like one thing I think we could tell from these ICE shooting videos, we have learned nothing from 2020. We haven't learned anything about nuance. We haven't learned anything about, hey, wait till the facts come out. We haven't learned anything. We immediately drew battle lines and started fighting. We didn't learn a goddamn thing from 2020. All the stuff we heard that ended up being media lies that we had to sift through later, we ended up telling me I was wrong about that. I did. But I learned my fucking lesson. I'm not just going to believe it just because they say it now. But it's like, it's hard because like I'm surrounded by normies who are ostensibly, you know, it's not as bad in Nevada, but like it seems overwhelming on like social media. So I got to kind of tune out from that, because it's like these are people that I like otherwise who are like very, very bought in on this narrative. And I'm like not buying it. See this. The communists said that to take over America, they would just have to capture the minds of a single generation by using the educational system. We are there. It certainly feels like it. Yeah. And it's not just that, but they captured the teachers, and then the teachers are spreading it. So the millennial women that learned wokeness in the colleges of education are now spreading it as high school, middle school, and elementary school teachers. And that's exactly right, dude. I'm so glad you're here, Junior Coltrane. This is so great. It's been so nice having you in the chat. New guy, hasn't been in the chat before. Junior Coltrane, friend of the channel. The guilt trip is so obviously jealous hatred, so I take it as a high compliment. It's like they're saying, I want to be white, but can't, so I'll hate on white. Yeah, I do. The pendulum is swinging back the other way, so buckle up, alt left. Yeah, for real. Yeah, unemployed behavior, big time. Terminally bad at assessing risk makes for great cannon fodder. Yeah, actually, that must be by design. Because if let's say I'm whatever fucking evil overlord is trying to program people to go fucking kill themselves, or get killed by law enforcement so that I can push communism in the United States, whatever evil motherfucker, somebody James Bond needs to go take out is doing this shit. And it's like fucking tripping me out. Anyway, so imagine I'm that guy, right? I don't want somebody who knows what kind of danger they're in. So I'm going to do everything I can to assure them, no, they're not real cops. No, they're not real cops. They can't use force on you. All you do is just fucking honk your car horn at them and blow a whistle and block them and like talk shit to them. And it's just like mall security. They can't even hurt you. That's what I would tell them. I would tell that lie. Oh, you're just a legal observer. I would do whatever I could to try to convince them to take more and more and more risks and be bolder and be bolder and be bolder and be bolder. And the other thing too is that the ICE agents are showing a lot of restraint. I think it's a miracle that only 2 people have been shot, or 3 or whatever it was, and only 2 of them were questionable. And it's like, that's a miracle considering how much restraint they're showing. And because I had to tell you, like the real Nazis, like the real brown shirts, like if they encountered something like this, they would just beat those people to death or put them in jail or kill them. Like they would not like sit there and put up with this, like, I'm not touching you bullshit. They're showing a ton of restraint, and they know that if force gets used, it's going to be a whole clusterfuck. It's going to be a whole like bureaucratic nightmare for them. So they're actually showing a lot of restraint with these people. And I think having to deal with these people according to rules, these people don't have any rules. These people are just, so yeah, I think that's good. That puts them in a situation where it's just like a nightmare to deal with this kind of organized resistance, which I don't think they anticipated organized resistance in this way. I don't know how they could have known about that. I mean, I didn't. I mean, maybe they did. Maybe they were warned. Maybe the CIA knows about this or whatever. I'm sure they do. But like, I had never heard of some shit like this before. Do you guys know anybody who's like in one of these like fucking like anti-ICE clubs or whatever? Do you guys know anybody who's doing this? I don't fucking know, man. If they continue to see people held responsible and going to jail, only then will they start to act right. Yes, absolutely. We got to have actual punishment for some of these crimes. There has to be some kind of rule of law restored. It has to be, because people are losing faith in the system. And people, honestly, like if there's not some serious ball movement on this, people are going to feel like Trump is weak or Trump is abandoning them or whatever, whether or not that's fair. That's just the direction the narrative is going to go. And the weaker Trump looks, the better for the dissident right. Like that emergent faction is it's all the young, ambitious, high IQ, high energy guys are doing that. So that's why I think it's something to keep an eye on. Even if they don't necessarily have the numbers or the majority right now, they have the motion. So, and anytime you have Trump looking weak, even if it's just optically, even if it's just for a moment, that lends credibility to their argument. Let's see what else we got. If you stay married long enough, you will be having a sex life with an old lady sex. I'll probably have to pass on. Oh, fuck. Old lady sex. That's wild. Oh, shit. I have the best chat. Junior Coltrane, that road goes 2 ways. Eventually, you'll have old man balls. Weasel coming in with the wisdom. Uncle Weasel. Spread the wisdom. That's good stuff. Hey, oh shit, Ronald Skinburn is here. What's up, buddy? Ronald Skinburn. Let's see. Any firearms instructor will tell you if you're going to a place where you feel like you need to take up multiple mags, you probably shouldn't be there. He knew what he was doing. I don't pity him. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like people in the firearms community, it's like, yeah, not hard to argue with that. And that's the thing. It's like people who are actually into using firearms defensively. Like, I don't know. I think leftists assume that they all want to be Clint Eastwood and they want to kill people. It's like, no, the guys I know who carry and take it seriously, like they are very, 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 very cautious about it. They are methodical about following all the laws, like, and it changes your philosophy. Like, you avoid dangerous situations because if you don't, you might have to use that gun, and then that becomes like a nightmare legally. So, yeah. If you are quick to laugh and even quicker to forgive, then you will have long-lasting friendships. Yes, I think that's a proverb, but that's exactly right. Is like we have to actually like, and I think the problem with the leftists is that they really just all their humor comes from a mean, spiteful place. Like they don't have the ability, like because they're the way that they socialize is like mean girl, bitchy, feminine energy. Even the men do that. So the way comedians socialize is very male coded. It's a lot of like roasting. But in order to roast you effectively, I have to spend a lot of time hanging out with you and studying you and watching you, which is kind of gay, actually. But that's how men make friends. Like we hung out a bunch together, and I noticed that you get salt and vinegar, that maybe you get salt and vinegar chips a lot. And so I'm like, I might say something about that. I don't, it's not a very good example, but like, you see what I'm saying? Like you just fucking make jokes about each other. And then I think making jokes about difference is the best. And that's why making racist jokes with each other is like so much fun, especially if it doesn't come from a place of malice. It comes from a place of like genuine bonding. Guys in the military will do this. Guys at like blue collar jobs will do this. Comedians will do this amongst each other. Groups where the free speech norms are a little broader and you're allowed to kind of like explore boundaries and stuff like that are more fun to hang out in. But the left, because they follow bitchy like high school girl norms, they don't understand that. They don't understand like roasting as a sign of love. They don't see that. They see roasting as, that's so mean. Why would you say that to me? And so all their jokes are like mean. So, and they think words are like violence. So they're like, you know, so they just have like just the thinnest skin in the world, and they have like no tolerance for any kind of like, and humor is necessarily a little bit transgressive. So, but there's all sorts of things you're like not allowed to joke about, and that just fucking sucks the air out of a room or a social gathering or a party or whatever. Like I've hung out with woke people, and it's fucking excruciating. It's just excruciating. It's just not fun. I'd rather hang out with comics, to be honest with you. And comics will say some wild shit. Comics will say some wild shit, but if you're willing to tolerate, and you just, but the way you respond to it is like, oh, of course he said that. He's a doofus. You know what I mean? You just deal with it. And that's better. And those friendships are better because they're more honest too. They're more honest too. Let's see. There's a large amount of population that does not live in reality. The sad truth is that the majority of them do so not by choice. Choices can be made to get there, but things are set up to make that process excruciating and difficult. Yeah, dude. I think a lot of people have their agenda, their view of reality set for them by social media, and it's very, very, very hard for them to break out of that. It's possible, but you have to be intentional about it, and you have to have the desire to do it, and it's very tough. It's very tough. And like learning to reflexively question these narratives is very tough. I mean, a lot of people are still like not doing it, and they just don't really have the skill set. And I guess they didn't learn the critical thinking skill set. Now that's tough. That's tough, man. There is no grassroots Communist Party USA, by the way. It's all foreign funded by Soviet Union until perestroika, and now it's China. Yeah, I noticed that's definitely true. It's absolutely the idea that this was some kind of like grassroots resistance is just completely, that has been shattered. I don't think anybody believes that anymore, which is crazy because even if you are a leftist, do you want foreign agents funding rebellion in your country? Even if you're a leftist, do you want that? That seems like catastrophically short-sighted. That seems so stupid to me. Like, dude, this is dangerous. It's, I don't know, man. I don't even know what it all means. These protesters have 3 years of Trump left, so they better pace themselves big time. I live in Seattle, a sanctuary city, so I see these dressed in black, masked up people everywhere constantly. Wow, dude. That's crazy. Yeah. Democrats can't be funny because they are just too mean inside, and that will affect your comedy style. That's really true. I've actually said for a while that that's the reason like male comics can kind of make jokes about feminists and they're funny. And feminist comics really struggle to make jokes about men that land because it just comes out so spiteful and mean. And I think that's it's like a tone shift. And they're like, well, why can't I? And it's like, because you're like, this is what Junior's saying. I know you mentioned you do stand up. So it's like, so I'm sure if I know you from stand up and I haven't acknowledged you, I'm sorry. I would have, but yeah, dude. I think that's been my theory for like why feminists struggle to like make jokes about men that like scale and do well with like non-female audiences, is because like, whereas I make a lot of jokes about women because I like doing it, and I make a ton of jokes about women, and like feminists tend to not like it, but a lot of times like women do, especially if they have like a boyfriend, they like, because I'm not doing like lazy hack sexist shit. I'm talking about stuff that I noticed about things I noticed about men and women getting along. And I say that, and they know it's true. If they know it's true and they feel like I'm saying something that's true, they'll give me a pass and they'll laugh along with it. You know, you can do that. But I think like feminists, a lot of times, first of all, they don't seem to understand men very well. And a lot of their jokes about men are just like so spiteful and mean. And it just comes from a place of like deep, it's like, oh man, you fucking meant that shit. Oh shit. And that's hard. Like audiences are going to feel that. They're not going to respond. Like me personally, I like to write jokes about things that I like, or things that I look at, or things I think are interesting. That's mostly what I write jokes about, because then I can, you know, or things that I like to pay attention to, because I can kind of keep it positive and keep it silly. I don't like to do, I don't know. I think it's a betrayal of the audience to like sit there and like talk about politics all day, because like the news is very scary. And I think a lot of people want to check out and they want to just like enjoy a laugh. So I like to talk about like men and women and shit like that, and relationships and stuff like that. But like making things that people can relate to, like families, kids, cats and dogs, men and women, that kind of stuff. Keep it on themes, you know. And if you point out stuff that you like really noticed about people dating, keep it on stuff that you noticed that's like insightful. You can make jokes about women just fine, and they will laugh at them. But it's got to be based in something that's real, something that's true, you know, on some level, or that they know. They got to either know somebody who's like that, or they got to be like that themselves, you know. And if not, then, well, and some people will, you know, some people are going to be mad no matter what, but like, yeah, but it comes from, it has to come from a good place, or it's just like not going to work. You know, it's not going to work as well. People are going to feel like, oh shit, this dude hates me. I don't like that. And that's how I feel when I listen to a lot of like feminist comics. Is like, I feel like, oh man, this chick hates me. That's a huge bummer. Because I don't feel no type of way towards her, but you can kind of feel it. You know, it's not a good vibe. And that happens a lot when leftists do comedy. The other thing is like a lot of times leftists do comedy for social approval. So they'll just like say something and they'll be like, the audience will be like, yes, yes, yes. And they want applause and congratulations for it. And no, it's like, it's not that fun. That's not that fun. It's like, to me, that's not the point. The point is to be funny and to be transgressive. The cool thing about like a comedy club is you can say things that you're not allowed to say at a 7-Eleven. You could say them in the comedy club. You could say things that are transgressive, and you can kind of push people's boundaries, and you can get people to consider things that they didn't want to consider before. And you can, I always say my goal is to start an argument on the way home between couples. I love that shit. I love, you know, Patrice O'Neal said that if you're doing comedy right, half the audience is laughing and half the audience is horrified. And I think there's something to that. I mean, really like stirring people up emotionally and getting people to have like a complete experience, and then purge that with laughter. And then this is how you should feel leaving a comedy show. This right here. This is how you should feel. That's how you should feel. Should feel like, oh man, I had a great time. I laughed with my whole body and I got some stress out. And now I'm going to go home and I'm going to, you know, bang my wife and have some sleep, you know? Yeah. But yeah, I'm trying to get, the cool thing about Las Vegas is I was in the Northwest for a while, and that it was like very suffocating stylistically, you know, because there's like certain things that had limitations, you know, in terms of, at least the place I was performing had some limitations stylistically on what I could do. And then I started doing the road, and then it was like way easier once I was like outside of like my hometown drama. And Vegas is great because like Vegas, you're just like not going to be the most edgy comic on a Vegas show 9 times out of 10. Like there's going to be somebody there saying some wild shit. And it's like, oh, that's wilder than I was going to say. All right, cool. That's pretty great. It takes a lot to shock people out here because there's so much competing for your attention. There's so much. There's like with like slot machines and everything. It's like casino. Like imagine like how the lights and sounds of casinos, and there's all the hookers, and there's girls on the sidewalk with their butt cheeks out, and there's like fucking Carrot Top's face on a billboard, and the fucking Cirque du Soleil, but with titties out. You know, all the there's just like so much shit competing for your attention out here that like people have a very high tolerance for what they find shocking. So it's just kind of hard to upset people, which I like. Because you can take some risks. Oh, man. Lefty comedy never has a punchline. It's just a never-ending story all about themselves. Yeah, that's a big problem of just like randomly trauma dumping and like telling like awkward stories about yourself that's like not particularly appealing to an audience. Like this isn't comedy. This isn't your fucking therapy session. Like I don't give a shit that your uncle touched you. Like where's the joke? The goal is to be funny. You know, and if you can't do that, that's fine. I don't mind somebody trying to be funny and failing. That happens. But if you're just going to go up there and fucking trauma dump and or like ask for the approval of the audience by showing off that you have the right opinions, then like please just find another thing to do. Go do karaoke. Go do karaoke. This is not for you. Change it to make edgy comedy cool again. Then Theo can say he's into Mecca. Oh, all right. That's good. I like that. Teresa O'Neill never liked Bill Burr, and I totally get it. Yeah, dude, Bill Burr has been a huge disappointment the last couple of years. Holy crap, man. Like, oh, man. I mean, I didn't even really care that he did the Riyadh Comedy Festival. I'll be honest with you. I didn't care about that much because if somebody offered me, you know, $300,000 to go do comedy in Saudi Arabia, I'd probably do it. So I felt like kind of a hypocrite criticizing these guys, knowing that I probably would have taken the money because I could have used, like, if somebody offered me that kind of money. Now, if I had a lot of money, it might be different. But offering me that money now, hell yeah, I'm taking it. But it is what it is. But like the thing with Bill Burr is just like his fucking, he's gotten so woke and like white people this and fucking billionaires need to die that and all this stuff. It's like, dude, he was so great. He was so countercultural. It's crazy because he used to do jokes about guys would get married and their wife would just steal their whole life force. And then that is what has happened to him. He got married and just like has become like a shadow of his former self. It's deeply sad. You know, I guess he's happy, but you know, whatever. What's up, Jeff? Fail far the wind he stakes. Yeah, dude, it's rough. All right, folks. Well, listen, that was a fun little 2-hour live stream. I'm probably going to hop off because it's been rad. Remember, I'm doing Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. I'm going to be live here 11 a.m. Pacific time. Also, I have a bunch of live comedy events coming up. I'm going on the road in February. So if you want to know where I'm going to be and what I'm going to be doing, please go ahead and follow me on my social medias, my Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. Make sure to follow YouTube. Please sub on the Patreon. We're going to be putting out a lot of cool Patreon content coming up. So sub to the Patreon. All the links are in the description of this video. If you want to send money so I can buy a Candace Owens body pillow for the gag, please send that to the Stream Elements tip jar. That is a multi-show fundraising effort we're conducting there. All right, guys. Well, hey, take it easy. Now, please enjoy the outro. The intro to my other show is my outro to this show. Thank you very much. Oh, God, it was awesome seeing you guys. You guys are a great chat. Thank you very much.
Look at that grass. Man, this grass look good. This Johnson grass look good. Well, look at my grass. No. Look at that grass.
Are we looking at ours as cat now?
Yes. Sorry, I didn't hear a damn thing you said.
All right.
And because I was a gazillionaire and I like building something, I cut that price for free.
The species is dying. The birth rate is plummeting. Women are chopped. But yeah, you know what? Get a fucking cat.
I know even more about grass.